Hello, everyone, and welcome to Myofascial. My name is Adrian, and if you're watching this later on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. And for those live, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Today's going to be a focus more on the hips and shoulders. So we're going to do a lot of rotational movement and work right into the glutes, right into the pecs and shoulders, all that good stuff. So let's get started with a nice, easy stretch. We're going to grab a foam roller if you have one. If you don't have one, I'm happy to modify it. But definitely grab a foam roller. Perfect. And if you have a half roller, you need to make a small modification. So if you have a half roller, just make sure your shoulders and your head are on the half part. So demonstrate. So like so. So here, if you have a half roller, try to just get your head and your T-spine on it. And we're going to go for some nice, big, open chest stretches. Just warming up our back and getting all mobilized through the shoulders. Perfect. If you have a full roller, you can, of course, just place your whole tailbone on it. Oops. So if you have a full roller, and of course with a nice full range of motion, if you have a half roller, then just your head and T-spine on it and just work through it. So palms forward, make sure those palms are face up, go for nice, easy stretching. Let the back of your palms glide along the floor and just slowly work through. And if you're in tight quarters, you can just bend your elbows and almost do like a shoulder press motion and dig the elbows into your sides. You can't if you're in a tight quarters. Again, if you're in the half roller, just make sure that your head and T-spine are on it. Good. About 15 more seconds. It's really working through any kind of range of motion. So 10 more seconds to go. And 3, 2, and 1. Here we're going to the roller sideways. Whether you have a full roller or a half roller, it's the same. We're going to cross our arms. We're going to hug ourselves, or we can support her on the head. And we're going to roll about halfway down our spine, and then right to our shoulders. Slowly working through any kind of tension. So go into the roller sideways. Just really work. So I'm going to hold you, either support your own head if your neck has a hard time, or cross your arms and really dig through the middle of your back. We'll be here for about 20 more seconds. Really just digging in to whatever you got going on there. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Now our back is nice and warm. If we have a peanut or a ball, we're going to use it. If we don't, anything that's small, if you have like a golf ball, tennis ball, anything you can muster, I'm going to use a peanut, but all you need is the ball. We're going to place it right behind, in between our spine or our shoulder blade. So I'll get a little closer to the camera and show you. We're going to place it right between the spine and the shoulder blade. And then whichever arm you're on, we're going to hug that side over your body. We're going to dig that right into the floor, or you can also do it against the wall. So either on the floor or on the wall. If it's on the wall, I'll show you. Yes. However, if you're on the floor, it's the same thing. You're just lying face up. You're going to place it behind your shoulder blade and really dig into it. Good. 10 more seconds on this side. Great. Other side. So you really want to hug yourself over as much as you can. Cross that arm across the body and really dig right between the spine and the shoulder blade. You have about 10 more seconds left. And 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. So here, if you happen to have a peanut, we're going to do a little bit of what's called a T-spine release. So we're going to take the peanut, we're going to place it right in the center of our back. I'll show you where. It's right there. So we're going to want the peanut right straddling our spine and in between our shoulder blades on either side. And then we're going to lie face up. We're going to work our arms through a nice full range of motion while lying face up. So if you can put those 2 tennis balls in a sock, that's how you make a really easy peanut. Just like shove them in a sock or like a little mesh bag if you have one of those lying around. Or, take a dirty sock out of the laundry, whatever works. Perfect. And just tie a quick knot at the end. That's how you make an easy peanut. So placing that right between the spine. And then from here, we're going to focus on inhaling as our arms come up and exhaling as our arms come down. So here, starting the peanut right between our T-spine, make sure it's on either side of our shoulder blade. Starting with our arms up in the air. We're going to take a deep breath first. And then from here, as we exhale, I want you to press your core to the ground, press your ribs into the ground, and we're going to elongate our arms towards the floor. So, and from here, take a deep breath and bring the arms forward. And then exhale as you come down. And inhale. And then exhale as you come down. Now this movement is going to feel pretty rough. Make sure the balls are on either side of your shoulder blades and keep working the arms back and forth above the head and then past the chest and down. Work the arms back and forth. What we're doing is we're mobilizing both our breath and our T-spine on the inhale. On the exhale, we're elongating as much as we can. Really working in that full range of motion. Maybe about 15, 20 more seconds. This is not an easy movement. It's going to feel pretty rough probably if you're not used to it. Really work that arm back and forth. And as we're working through, we should feel our ribs open up just a little bit towards the back with each inhale. If you don't feel it now, you're going to feel it maybe in 10 seconds after we're done. So nice big movements with the arms, working through that big breath. We're almost there. 5, 4, looking good. 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Ease off of that. See if your chest is feeling a little easier to breathe, so you can expand those ribs a little bit. From here, we do a little bit of rotator cuff. I'm going to show you from a top-down view. We're going to have our arm at 90 degrees like this. We're going to find our shoulder. We're going to place the ball or the peanut, either one's fine, just behind the shoulder, right where our arm comes into our torso, right here. Then I'm going to lie face up. I'm going to angle my head towards you so you can see, but I want you to follow along. So elbow down and then rotating back and forth, keeping that elbow down, and the ball or the peanut should be right behind the shoulder. So working on a nice full range of motion. Really good. We're going to breathe through your stomach the whole time. If you can't quite reach the ground through your rotator cuff, that's okay. Don't force it, just work through whatever range of motion you got. About 10 more seconds and we'll switch sides. It's really working that range of motion. Three, two, and switch sides. And definitely notice if one side's a lot worse than the other. So you're gonna elbow out at 90 degrees. Work on that rotation as best you can. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. From here, we're gonna take a little break from the shoulders. We're gonna do a little more glute and hip work. So we're gonna start off always with a fun one. We're gonna do the glutes. You can do that with a ball, with a peanut, with a roller. It doesn't really matter as long as you target the glutes. So I'm gonna show you both from the peanut and from the roller. I'm gonna start with the roller. So here, you're gonna lean on your roller with one side. Whichever side you're on, you're gonna take that same leg and place it on top of your other one. So for me, if I'm on my left glute or my left cheek, my left ankle is on top of my right knee. You're gonna work that back and front. Now, of course, if you wanna make it a little more intense, you can use the ball or peanut, you put that right underneath your glute, and you really work back and forth, which is quite intense. But again, you do whatever works for you. I'm gonna stick to the roller. You do whatever intensity works. So make sure whichever side you're leaning towards, that same side is up on the other knees. If I'm on my left glute, my left ankle is on top. I'm really just digging through any kind of tension. If you want to change the angle of your knee, you can point your knee down, lift your knee up. Again, feel free to play with the angle. Everyone's tight in different ways, and everyone's body's a little different. Work with what you got. We're gonna be here for at least 30 more seconds on this side. If you want to stick to a particular spot and just hold it there, that's fine too. Work with whatever you got. And 3, 2, 1. Switching sides. Again, make sure for me, I'm on my right side, so my right leg is up on top of my left. So make sure you switch sides. Sorry, when you switch sides, make sure you also switch legs. So just trying to dig right into that glute as deep as you can. We'll be here for about 25, 30 more seconds. And 3, 2, 1. Next, we're gonna go for the groin. This one's a bit tough. So here, I'm gonna show you standing, but you'll be doing it lying face down. So here, we're gonna lie face down with our leg up in the air. The roll is gonna be on the inner thigh. Our hips are gonna be square towards the floor. We're gonna roll right from the side of the knee, right to the groin. Let's do this. So hips square towards the ground. You do like a half plank. You're gonna be on your elbows or on your hand. Half plank, and roll right from your groin, right to the side of the knee. Now it's tempting to kind of tuck your leg in. Make sure your ankle is in front of your knee. You're gonna work all the way into your groin and all the way back. And if you have a half roller, you can't tuck your leg in, which is great. Forces you to be honest. So do your best. Really go right from the groin, right to the side of the knee. And notice if you're worse near the groin, worse near the knee, worse in the middle. Everyone's tight in different areas. If you have really tight hips, your groin might be pretty brutal. If you tend to have more knee issues, your knee can be worse. You could also just be tight everywhere. That's entirely possible too. So work with whatever you got. Keep those hips facing the floor. Avoid turning into the roller. Keep those hips square and work right from your groin, right to the side of the knee. If you want to hang on a particular spot and just really work it, that's fine too. But our groin muscles and our inner thigh muscles are essential to mobile hips as well. Especially if we sit or if we sit cross-legged, you tend to get quite tight. Just really work through whatever tissues you got there. And 3, 2, and switch sides. And definitely notice here if one side's worse than the other, usually tends to coincide if you have a tighter glute or worse, or if you have a little back pain on that side. Tight groins tend to coincide with tight hips. So really work through whatever tension you got, working from either right beside the pelvis to all the way beside the knee. Whatever you got going on. About 15, 20 more seconds here. And if you want to hang in a particular spot, you want to hang it right by the groin, you want to hang it right by the knee, that's totally fine. Work with whatever you got. About 10 more seconds here. And easing off. From here, actually go for our hip flexors on the roller. This is going to look a little funny if you haven't done it before. But here we do a little bit of landmarking first. So we're going to find our hip bones. So if you're not sure where your hip bones are, find your belly button, go off to the side, maybe 4 or 5 inches, then go down a bit. You should feel like a bony little curve. Once you find that, you're gonna go maybe an inch and a half down. If you're still not sure, it's right where if you were bent forward, wherever that bend or that crease is. So right around that area, we're gonna take that and lean that on the roller at a 45-degree angle. So I'll show you. So right where that kind of hip crease is, we're gonna tilt our hips 45 degrees. So I'm not on my side, I'm at a 45-degree angle. So I'm not down, I'm not on my side, I'm somewhere in between. And I go to work from that hip bone and roll the first 2-3 inches down and right back to that hip bone. It's gonna be pretty rough if you haven't done it in a long time, or if you have tight hip flexors. If you're wondering what we're targeting our tensor fascia lata, a little bit of our IT band. If none of those words make sense, we're just targeting right where the leg comes into the hip. And slowly working back and forth. If you want to just rest in a particular spot, that's fine too. What it shouldn't feel like is you're resting on bone. If you feel like you're just sitting on your hip bone, try to go maybe an inch or 2 lower. And we want to work the first maybe 3-4 inches of tissue from our hip bone down. And again, our hips should be at a 45-degree angle. We shouldn't be on our side. We're at a 45-degree angle. It's very key. So working back and forth. It's a small movement. We're really digging right into those hip flexors. We need 10 more seconds. 10, 9. Let me switch sides. 8, 7. For some people, this is a pretty big deal. Some people, this feels like nothing at all. Again, everyone's different. And 3, 2, and switch sides. So I'm gonna turn around here. Okay, bring your hips at a 45-degree angle. So you're not square to the floor, you're not on your side, you're somewhere in between. So at about 45 degrees. So again, we're not on our side, we're not face down, we're right in between, working from that hip bone and the first 3-4 inches down. And one side might be a lot worse than the other, and that's okay, that's normal. So work through whatever hip flexor issues you got. And again, the movement isn't very big. You're maybe moving 3-4 inches back and forth. It's not a big movement. And after this, we'll move the quads. Those also come into our hips. Good. About 12 more seconds. Keep going. And 3, 2, 1. Easing up. Now we're going to our quads. So from here, this is nice and easy. You start above our knees and work our way down the full length of our quad. Here we do have a couple options. You can point your toes out. You can point your toes in. You can kind of play around with this and do whatever feels the best and or worst for you. So here, just above the knees, working our way back and forth right along the quads. And here you can point your feet out. You can lift and point your feet out to get a little more of the inner quad. You can lift and point your feet in together to get a little more of the outer quad. Everyone's different. Find what works for you. I'm just gonna stay neutral, but you do whatever works for you. So you can point your toes out to get more of your inner quad. You can point your toes in and together to get more of your outer quad. Again, everyone's different. You'll be here for at least a minute, if not longer. About 30 more seconds, just really working with the quads and any kind of tension you got there. About 30 more seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Last one for the hips / glutes. We do our glute med. This is the one where we do a little bit of almost like a clock, where we go from 0, 20, 45, 90. So if you have a peanut or a roller, we're going to place it right in the side of your glute med. If you don't know where that is, we're going to do a little bit of landmarking first. So from here, find your hip bones once again. From here, you're going to go maybe 2 inches down and then 2 inches back. You should feel the side of your bum. You should feel a little bit soft and squishy. If you don't quite feel that, move maybe another inch towards the back. So it should be almost on a diagonal from your hip bone, right to that soft, squishy area in the side of your bum. We're going to place a ball or the peanut right there. We're going to lay on top of it. This one's particularly not nice if you're not used to it. We're going to place it right underneath our glute med. We're going to lay on our side with our legs straight. Now, if this is too intense, and it's fine if it is, You can ease off of it by just lifting your other leg up like this and taking the weight off. That's fine. Or you can just lay on it with with both legs stacked on top. So yeah, it should feel like it's in a soft, squishy area. It feels like if it's pressing into your leg bone, move further back. By back, I mean more towards your cheeks or your glutes, and not down towards the floor, towards the back. Again, you can adjust your hip angle a bit if you're feeling it too much or too little. If you're to lean back or lean forward to adjust how much tension you put in your glute med. We're gonna hang out here for maybe another 15 seconds. And if you're in a smaller area, normally I'd ask you to have your legs extended, but if you're in a smaller area or a tighter area, you're just gonna have to bend your knee a little more, that's all. So here we're gonna lift our leg to about 23 degrees. If you can't do that with a straight leg, you can bend your knee a bit, that's fine. Just try to have your thigh at about 23 degrees. So again, just lifting up just a little bit forwards. And in fact, it's the bottom thigh, not the top thigh. So the bottom thigh, again, about 23 degrees forward. We'll be here for about 50 more seconds, then we're gonna move to 45 and then 90. And 3, 2. We're now closer to 45, so bring the leg up a little bit. And again, if you're in a tight spot or a tight space, you can't quite do it, just bend your knees to whatever angle you need, but make sure the thigh angle is at 90 still. Sorry, at 45. We'll do 90 after this in about 15 seconds. 10 seconds. And 3, 2. Now a nice full 90 if we can. And if you can't do a 90 because of space or because of flexibility, you can bend your knees like you're sitting in a chair. Just again, make sure that that you're still targeting your glute med that's sitting in the side of your hip. About 15 more seconds here before we switch sides, and we'll do a quick neck release, and then that'll be it. In 3, 2, and 1. Now the other side. So we're lying face up. We're going to find the hip bone once more. We're laying directly on our side with the ball, the tennis ball, or the peanut right in that glute med area. We're going to lay right on top of it with our legs straight. Just 30 seconds starting now. Two, 1, and about 20 degrees. So bring the leg up a little bit and be 20, 30 degrees. And notice if it gets worse or easier. For some people, it gets a lot worse the higher the leg goes, but everyone's different. And 3, 2, 1. Now 45. So legs straight. If you can, if not, you can bend the knees a bit, but legs at 45 degrees. A nice diagonal. Make sure you're still pressing into that glute med as much as you can. And the ball is sinking into the side of your glute. Oh, 20 more seconds here. And 3, 2, 1. Now full 90, so legs all the way up. After this, do a quick neck release, quick neck stretch. I'll be done. About 30 more seconds here, just digging right into the glute med as best we can. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Easing off. Perfect. So a quick neck stretch, just 2 on each side and one in the middle. So here, one arm behind the back. Whichever arm is behind your back, you're gonna tilt your head towards that side. If you want, you can gently take the top of your fingertips and really gently stretch to a nice pull across the side of the neck. So if you have a lot of desk work or computer work ahead of you, so it's good to stretch the neck and get a little bit of release here. About 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, other side. So one arm behind the back. Tilt your head the other way. Go for a nice gentle stretch across the side of the neck. About 25 more seconds here. 15 more to go. Slow, deep breaths. 5, 4, 3, 2. The very last stretch, both hands behind our back. Point your chin to the sky. It's going to sound a little funny, but try to make almost like a smiling or a chewing motion. So you stretch your chin towards the sky. And our goal is to stretch the front of the neck, all that fascia, especially if you like texting or if you find your chin is towards your chest a lot, it's going to help just open up the entire front of the neck. So pull the shoulders back, point that chin to the sky. You can smile, make like a funny chewing motion. Got about 15 seconds here. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you everyone who's also watching us later on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Adrian.